But let's get back to creation of rules. We didn't call them rules, did we? What did we call them? Does anyone remember? The reason, expectations, that's right. Because when it's a rule, what happens?
You break it.
You want to break it. Someone says, don't do something, you do it. Because they said, don't do it. And so the first thing you want to do is break the rule. And so it's part of building a community spirit is building a series of expectations of group behavior. And the social pressure that you all have together will make sure that those expectations of group behavior, that you're following them and that the other people on your team are following them. Does that make sense? Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. All right, so you might be wondering why we're talking about building a community spirit in terms of observations. As teachers, we work on a team, right? We work with a department, we're the head of the department. We are trying to make sure that within the team that we're working, we have good relationships for two reasons. One, because it just makes everything a lot easier and it's more professional. And two, because the students notice when you don't have good relationships with co-teachers. And they are, whether we want them to or not, they are using you as a model. Right? Because they spend more time with you as a teacher than they do with their parents. And so you are the adult role model for them in the class. So it's really important to work on these aspects of ourselves as teachers. Okay, would you hit the next one for me? So I was doing a lot of research on how to create a more positive environment. I was working last year. We were building a writing center here at Kiev, Mohila. I hope it's going well. I want to talk to you later. And one of the things, we had a lot of meetings. And I was always trying to find a way to make the meetings more effective because they could go for a very long period of time. And what we know about children is same for adults in that you can only be in a meeting for so long. And when I was doing the research on meetings, I came across talk and walk. It's a strategy for meetings that dates back to, apparently, Aristotle, where he used to walk with his students. They didn't sit in a classroom, they walked. And it's become something that's more and more popular in the US, where instead of having meetings where you're all sitting around a table, you're actually having preset questions where you walk with each other. And then you come back and you have a debrief about what everyone discussed. So it's really interesting, and I hope you can see it's also applicable to the classroom. But one of the great things about Talk and Walk is it's creating more personal, professional relationships among the team members, among the staff. So if we are team members and we have to go and we have to spend 10 minutes walking around talking about whatever it is that's on the agenda, of course we'll stick to the agenda, but we might also talk about what's happening in your life, right? How are your kids, da-da-da-da. And what it does is it creates a kind of informal but formal way to break down some of the barriers that we create at work to help create more of a professional team. And to create more of a connection between team members. And when you have a connection between team members, you are more likely to get positive and good observations out of them. I bet you're all sitting there going, but what does this have to do with observations? When you respect somebody and you really feel that they care about you, you're more likely to think about their feedback in a positive way. Observations are all about feedback. One of the main issues that I've found with observations, both in giving and receiving, is that when things are written or said, one of the things you can do is accidentally take it personally, right? And feel like it might be a little bit of an attack on you as a teacher. But when you have when you have an environment where you know each other a little better and you really feel a sense of security with the other teachers in your group, it's hard to automatically think that they're attacking you. Because you're like, yeah, but I know this person. Of course they wouldn't say that in that way about my teaching. You know? So it helps to foster that kind of environment. Ideally. It may not always, but ideally that's the premise of my argument. Okay, so we're going to maybe not do a talk and walk because there may not be enough room, but I wanted to give you an example of what one might look like. Ideally in a classroom, you'd be able to use the hall or you'd be able to use some of the classroom itself. In a meeting, you can obviously use the hallway because most of the time our meetings are in classrooms or in the teacher center, and it's very easy to have access to the hall where you can talk. When it's spring, you can go outside, enjoy yourself, etc. So, we don't have the index card today, so I'll just ask maybe if you have a notebook or a piece of paper, you can write on that. You're going to do a sit and talk. And basically we're going to do what it says here. Can someone read those for me so I don't have to always turn around? Who's willing to participate? Oh, come on. Is it because we're so many that you're shy? When have you ever been shy before? Bruce, don't worry, I'll give you a break. Do I need to volunteer someone? How about, will you read them for me? Just read. Oh, it's okay. You'll be fine.
During talk and walk, you will be assigned to walk and share with another person for 5 minutes. You will do this twice. Each time you should both answer a question and write the responses to your new friend's question on your index card. Take a picture of your new friend on your mobile phone or camera.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, basically, we're just going to do it once, because we don't have time for 2 times. But I will be giving you a list of questions about kind of teaching philosophy, some of your ideas behind why you teach, how you teach. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to actually imagine, so I guess I should say this, a caveat. You don't have to only talk about teaching. I'm going to give you a list of questions that are to elicit the information about your teaching philosophy, but you don't have to stick to those questions. One of the reasons for that is it's more interesting if you don't stick to the questions, because oftentimes in the course of a conversation, you might start with one question and it evolves into something else. So I don't want you to feel like you're trapped. You have to answer all of the questions. You can start with teaching and maybe it moves into something more personal. That's fine. However you want to do it. But taking a picture of your new friend, that is basically because when we share with each other, we begin to see each other in a new light, right? So it alters our perspective of the other person. And so the idea is to take a picture of that person from the new perspective, right? Before you were strangers, now you are friends. How can you capture that person as they appear to you in that moment? So that's more or less what we're going to do. Can you click the next one? This is an example. You can see there's only a little bit that has to do with teaching. So my favorite color is green. My favorite vacation spot is Thailand. I feel happiest when I'm traveling with good friends. It inspires me to see people grow into or beyond their personal potential, and that's why I'm a teacher, because I love to see how students grow and change and develop, especially when they far exceed your expectations. That's fantastic. Makes me very happy, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And then that was a picture of me probably when I was very happy. And I was in Thailand. I took this picture 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. So that's kind of an example of what it would look like. So I'd like you, let me get the timer and set the timer for 5 minutes. If you'll click the next, the slide please. Here are some questions that you can ask each other. I'd like you to find a partner. Ideally it's a partner, but we may have an odd number, so you're welcome to work in groups of 3, but not 4. 4 is big for this activity, okay? So can I see that everybody has a partner, please? Raise your hand if you do not have a partner.